Hello again and welcome back to week 39 of year 4 of the Religious Education Initiative. We're continuing now with the Gospel of John. Or rather, last week we came to the end of the Gospel of John on this third day. But of course, we're not actually finished with the ecclesiastical year, nor with this fourth year of the Religious Education Initiative. We remembered, of course, that we had read through to the end of the 10th chapter of the Gospel according to St. John, as we came to the beginning of Great Lent, and that we saw the Lord leave a dispute with the Pharisees one last time as they tried to kill him. He then departed and went across the Jordan River, and he remained there. We left him and his disciples there and skipped ahead several chapters to the end of the account of the mystical supper so that we could arrive at the crucifixion and resurrection by Holy Week. So now, having finished the Gospel of John, we will return to chapter 11 and see through the rest of the summer the path that the Lord walked toward his life-giving passion. This is the beginning of John chapter 11. It says, "Now a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who anointed the Lord with perfume and wiped his feet with her hair. Her brother Lazarus was ill. So the sisters sent a message to Jesus, 'Lord, he whom you love is ill.' But when Jesus heard it, he said, 'This illness does not lead to death. Rather, it is for God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it.' Accordingly, though Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus, after having heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then, after this, he said to the disciples, 'Let us go to Judea again.' The disciples said to him, 'Rabbi, the Jews were just now trying to stone you, and are you going there again?' Jesus answered, 'Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Those who walk during the day do not stumble because they see the light of this world, but those who walk at night stumble because the light is not in them.' After saying this, he told them, 'Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to awaken him.' The disciples said to him, 'Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will be all right.' Jesus, however, had been speaking about his death, but they thought that he was referring merely to sleep. Then Jesus told them plainly, 'Lazarus is dead. For your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him.' Thomas, who was called the Twin, said to his fellow disciples, 'Let us also go, that we may die with him.'" Okay. So, of course, we know where this story is going. But it's worth noting how many times the Lord speaks about this coming death of Lazarus. First saying that the illness is not leading to death, but is leading to God's glory. And we made a note on the website, but we'll say this again here. This doesn't mean that Lazarus isn't going to die. It means that Lazarus' death is not the end of the story. The sickness is not going to end with Lazarus' death. It's going to end with God being glorified in his resurrection, which really is the striking point, because Lazarus will die. It's just that, unusually, that will not be the end of the story. And then we see the misunderstanding when he says Lazarus has fallen asleep, and the disciples are like, "Oh, good, when he sleeps he'll feel better." But Jesus is talking about his death, but it's asleep because he will wake from it once again. And then Jesus finally tells them plainly, "Lazarus is dead, and I'm glad I was not there to keep him from dying, because now you will have the chance to see him raised and to believe and understand that I have the authority over death. But let us go to him." What's striking about the disciples is they don't understand this. They think Jesus, going back to where the Jews are, who've been trying to kill him, they think that Jesus is going to his death, which of course he is. But they go along with him. They are faithful. They are determined. And Thomas even says, "Let us go with him. Let us die with him." So we see a certain heroism from the disciples here. Now, that enthusiasm, that willingness gets ground down, as it seems, in the course of the actually being in the presence of those who want to kill Jesus. But we see the faithfulness of the disciples here. So, of course, all of this is a prelude to the Lord's death and resurrection. This is the Lord actively beginning the path to Palm Sunday, to his entrance into Jerusalem and to his passion, because it is this miracle of Lazarus' raising that is the occasion for which they greet him on Palm Sunday in this way. But we'll see more of that next week. For now, God bless you all. We'll see you next week.